There's a shit ton of them, and they all have their own stories, characters, layouts, and experiments. I'm assuming you don't know every single vault, unless you have an encyclopedic memory of the Fallout fandom pages. But what if you could know every vault? This is so stupid. But really, what if you wanted to know about every single vault? Then you could just, you know, watch this series.
Oh my God!
Yes, I have come up with what's probably going to turn out to be a very stupid idea where I analyze every single vault across the Fallout franchise. This will be a 6-part series, and it will be uploaded when I feel like it. Trust me, I'm gonna give it my all when making the series, but if this channel is any indicator, I'm lazy as shit. So expect these 6 videos to be uploaded over the course of a few months to potentially a year. Because I'm going all out, I'm including all of the information. We don't forget useless information here, goddammit! If you'd like to know when new episodes of this series are uploaded, please consider subscribing to be notified whenever I upload a new part. Also, likes are greatly appreciated because it really does help my videos get noticed, especially when I spend hours working on them, like with this series. For this series, I have created 3 unique characters. For Fallout 4, we have Vaulty McVault Girl. For Fallout 3, we have Vaulty McVault Guy. And for Fallout 76, we have Vaulty McVault They. Since I only own New Vegas on console, and I'm saving 1 and 2 for later, I'll be borrowing footage from popular YouTubers. You can tell when the footage isn't mine because I'll always credit them in the bottom left corner, and I'll make sure to leave their name in the description. And no, I'm not gonna be using footage from that guy. You know the one. Yes, him. The hypocritical shithead. Don't worry, I won't be using his footage. I'll also be analyzing all of the non-canon vaults, which is actually quite a large portion of them. For Tactics and Brotherhood of Steel, I'll just be borrowing footage and crediting the creators like before, and for vaults from other pieces of media, I'll be using my own judgment on how to showcase them. One final thing I need to address before I move on to the actual vaults, and that's Fallout Shelter. Now, Fallout Shelter allows you to number your vault any number between 0 and 999. So obviously those aren't canon. There's also several story vaults, which you can find during quests, but most of those seem to have randomly generated numbers, and I genuinely can't be bothered to play Fallout Shelter to find all of them. So for the sake of this series, we're going to pretend that Fallout Shelter doesn't exist. Which, if it didn't, I think the world would be a much better place. But unfortunately, it will always be a reminder of Bethesda trying to milk us for microtransactions. That and Fallout 76. The Burkittsville Vault. Is that how you pronounce it? I don't know. Location? Burkittsville, Maryland. Come on, you could have figured that out. Canon? No. Games or media? Fallout 3 cut content. Alright, first vault of the series, and it's an odd one. The Burkittsville Vault is mentioned nowhere in Fallout 3 itself. It is, however, found in the game files. There's some cut terminal entries that were intended to be found at Hamilton's Hideaway, which mention the vault. Just in case, I investigated Hamilton's Hideaway in-game, and sure enough, there was absolutely no lore. The only info we have is in those cut terminal entries, and even those are pretty lackluster. On February 14th of 2078, this was written in the terminal. Frank's in bad shape. Arms and face are all burned up. He's got a lot of blisters that look infected. He went through hell out there. Hardly anybody alive. And those he met almost did him in. He tried getting into a vault near Burkittsville. They wouldn't open up, and he was almost killed in an ambush on his way out of there. He said those folks wore skins of men. Cannibal bastards must just wait for their next meal to come looking for help at the vault. Frank steered clear of them and headed straight here after that. He's been on his feet for weeks. And that is all we have about the Burkittsville Vault. The Los Angeles Vault. Location? Los Angeles. You fucking idiot. Where did you think it was? Canon? Yes. Games or media? Fallout. The Los Angeles Vault is very relevant to the story of Fallout 1. Huge spoilers ahead, but if you've gotten this far and didn't expect spoilers, what the hell were you expecting? Before the war, the LA Vault wasn't even an actual vault. It was simply a demonstration vault, similar to the one in Nuka World. It did, however, function as an actual vault, as several people briefly inhabited the vault to escape the nuclear hellfire. They eventually left to establish several communities and locations in New California. Now, my very first question after reading all of this was raised after I learned the location of the vault. In Fallout 1, the only way to enter the vault is through a hidden bookshelf door in the basement of the cathedral. Now, if the LA Vault was intended to be a demonstration vault, why was it hidden in this manner? Naturally, I asked r/Fallout Lore what their thoughts were on the matter, and we weren't able to come up with a 100% certain answer. The general consensus was that the cathedral was built post-war over top of the vault by the Master and the children of the cathedral. However, the fandom wiki clearly states that the cathedral was built pre-war, although that claim has no source attached to it, and none of the people on the subreddit could find any evidence confirming that it was pre-war, so the fandom wiki could be wrong. On the other hand, I did find that in the Fallout Bible, the construction of the cathedral is very briefly suggested. Master learns the location of the Boneyard Vault, the future site of the cathedral. He conquers the inhabitants and sets up operations there. Now, it's important to recognize that this is literally the only mention of the cathedral's construction in the entire Fallout Bible, and the Fallout Bible is only semi-canon. On top of that, as one user pointed out, the timeline entry may just be referring to the Master establishing the cathedral as a settlement, or giving it the title of the cathedral. Before that, it may have just been a cathedral. I realized that this was a somewhat off-topic rant, but I felt it was somewhat relevant to the vault, and I'll let you draw your own conclusion on why it was hidden there. Like it was mentioned in that Fallout Bible excerpt, before the events of Fallout 1, the Master found the vault and began to inhabit it along with his army. There's obviously a lot of lore regarding the Master, since he's the main antagonist of Fallout 1, and I'm not going to get into all of that here. I just want to focus on the vault, and exactly how the Master inhabited the vault. Because the Master didn't just inhabit the vault, he, in a sense, became one with the vault. If you've never played Fallout 1, it's important to recognize that the Master is a horribly mutated abomination. And as we see in Fallout 1, he managed to integrate himself with and sort of grow into the central computer. On the lowest level of the vault, the Master kept a nuclear warhead in storage. The canon ending of Fallout 1 is that the Vault Dweller used the nuclear warhead to blow up the vault and kill the Master. The Unfinished Vault. Location? Northern California. Canon? Yes. Games or media? Fallout 2. The Unfinished Vault is in a cave where a vault was going to be built. That is literally it. Next vault, please. The Secret Vault. Location? Somewhere in Texas. Canon? No. Games or media? Fallout. Brotherhood of Steel. The purpose of the Secret Vault was to continue research on different technology even after the point of total nuclear annihilation. The Vault was intended to deliver information to the Enclave and Vault-Tec, and it studied all sorts of technological and biological advances, including a special version of the FEV. I tried to find some information on this special forced evolutionary virus, but all I found was that it was heavily modified to try and achieve the original goals of the forced evolutionary virus, and avoid sterility in the super mutants, but it was unsuccessful. On top of the FEV research on humans, the Vault managed to make a variation of the Death Claws and something called a rad bug. I did some brief research on rad bugs, and they're essentially just bugs that were exposed to the FEV, and they only appeared in Fallout Brotherhood of Steel. The vault was managed by an AI called Calyx, which was an offshoot of the Zack supercomputers, because, those never go wrong. The vault seemed to work as intended for a while until, would you believe it, there was a conflict between the inhabitants, and even better, Calyx malfunctioned and went all evil like all of the Zack's AIs seemed to do. The chief security officer, Blake, wasn't too happy about the scientists experimenting with the FEV since he saw it as evil. So since he was such a great hero, he decided to have a fun little battle with all the scientists to teach them a lesson and stop their evil. In the process, a bomb went off, killing countless people and spreading the bugs across the wasteland. Good going, Blake. It was also around this time that Calyx did that fun killer AI thing where he lost control of all the security robots, which made them hostile towards all the Vault residents. The majority of the Vault residents died from the Civil War, robots, and hostile creatures. Now, this is where the lore gets weird, because we have to talk about Attis and his army. Now, before I get into this, I'd like to remind you that none of this is canon. It does, however, have a lot of lore, and it ties into some of the previous games, but it's still wacky as shit. So, Attis was a super mutant who was created by the Master. Now, Attis is pretty intelligent, and he actually kind of liked the Master. But then, Fallout 1 happened, and he sought revenge on the man who killed the Master. Or at least you'd think you would, but no. For some fucking reason, he gets wrapped up into a bit of a conflict with the Brotherhood. You see, there was a Brotherhood paladin named Rhombus who really didn't like Attis for some reason. So he went to all of his Brotherhood friends and he was like, hey, so can we go hunt down Attis now? And I imagine they were like, why the hell would we hunt down some random super mutant? So naturally, Rhombus defies their order and hunts down Attis anyway. Both groups end up traveling all the way to Texas, where Rhombus stations the Brotherhood in a vault. We'll get to that one later. And he quite literally becomes the elder of the Texas chapter of the Brotherhood. Mind you, that was very oversimplified, but the whole story has a lot of inconsistencies and it's not canon anyway, so I couldn't be bothered to research beyond that point. Now, getting back to the secret vault, while Attis and his army were fleeing, he eventually came across the secret vault and decided to set up shop there to avoid the Brotherhood. And that is pretty much everything we know about the secret vault. The Vault prototype. Location? Somewhere in Texas. Canon? No. Games or media? Fallout. Brotherhood of Steel. The Vault prototype was a Vault prototype built by Vault-Tec. It is inhabited by Rhombus and the Texas chapter of the Brotherhood. That is essentially it. Thank God. Well, I say that's essentially it, but for Brotherhood of Steel and Tactics, I'm really relying on the fandom wikis and YouTube videos for lore and story. So I suppose there might be more lore about the Vault prototype, but I really can't be bothered to play the game to find out more. Vault-Tec. Among the Stars. Location? Nuka World. Canon? Yes. Games or media? Fallout 4, Nuka World DLC. Unfortunately, most of the lore was locked behind doors that required a high lockpick skill, and Vaulty McVault Girl was a pretty low level when I got there, so I'm relying mostly off of the fandom pages and YouTube videos rather than my own findings. From its original appearance, Vault-Tec Among the Stars seems pretty harmless. It was a tourist attraction built in the Nuka World Galactic Zone, which guided the parkgoers through a sort of demonstration of how vaults could be built on other planets to colonize them. It was basically just a flashy demonstration to sell vaults to people. However, despite its innocent appearance, like everything Vault-Tec makes, its true intentions were a bit more sinister. The Vault had a multitude of experiments which were inflicted upon both the parkgoers and the employees of the Vault. The experiments were all detailed on an employee terminal. Experiment 1 was some sort of brainwave disruption caused by all the radiation scrubbers in the Vault. The main outcome of these was severe memory loss in all of the employees. Experiment 2 emitted audio which tried to give quote-unquote subliminal suggestions to the victims in the vault. Experiment 3 released an airborne toxin on the parkgoers using a pheromone created by genetically modified flora. The fourth experiment was just radiation emitted by the reactor in the vault, and the fifth was just the long-term testing on the employees after they were subjected to these various experiments. The result of all this? People went batshit crazy. One of the employees reported in his terminal all sorts of injuries. An old man collapsing, a lady running out of the vault screaming, and a random man stripping off all of his clothes. So, I'd say Vault-Tec saw this as an absolute success. There's a lot more specific details about each experiment, but I really just wanted this series to be more of a simplified explanation of the vaults, so each vault doesn't take up like 20 minutes to explain. The ending of the vault shouldn't really surprise anyone. Because of the insane long-term experimentation on the employees, they eventually cracked. They all started to lose their memory and go crazy, and eventually, just before the war, a brief fight broke out where one of the employees shot the other, and then he committed suicide. Vault-Tec University Simulation Vault. Location? Morgantown, West Virginia. Canon? Yes. Games or media? Fallout 76. So my first attempt to enter this vault was with Vaulty McVault Day, until I realized that I had no bobby pins. So I spent ages searching Charleston to find some, and when I finally found some, I went back to the vault to enter it, right up until I realized I need to hack a terminal that had too high a hacking requirement for Vaulty McVault Day. So I went back to the vault with my main character, only to realize I had no goddamn bobby pins, which is very strange because I'm near certain that my main character had shitloads of bobby pins. But this is Fallout 76, so as far as I know, they just glitched out of existence. So it looks like we're relying on wiki pages and YouTube videos for this vault as well. There's two things I need to focus on when it comes to this vault: the lore and the quest you come to this vault for with the Overseer. What's unique about the quest is that it was not originally in the game. It was added as part of the Wastelanders DLC. You see, this is a bit of a problem with Fallout 76 because things are constantly being added and expanded, so expect my information about the vaults in Fallout 76 to potentially become outdated as the game updates. If something changes about a vault that I've covered, and I'm not finished with the series yet, I'll make sure to mention it at the start of the next video that I upload in the series. The Simulation Vault was built underneath Vault-Tec University with the purpose of training students how to live and handle experiments in the vault. According to the wiki, students were often locked in the vault for weeks at a time, all while they were being experimented on. Before the Great War, an experiment was proposed by Drew Collingsworth where the students would be fed nutrient paste, and only nutrient paste during their time in the vault. I'm assuming this was the same nutrient paste that Vault-Tec gave to Suffolk County Charter School in Fallout 4. Anyways, the vault was locked on October 15th, 2077, and as the bombs dropped on the 23rd, the school was destroyed. Fortunately, the students were able to survive in the vault, but it was still locked and the experiment continued. Eventually, a maintenance worker died in the vault because of the continued consumption of the food paste, and the Overseer tried to switch to the regular food. Unfortunately, the food stockpile was nearly depleted, and naturally the dwellers rebelled against the Overseer because of it. Unable to break through the vault doors, all of the inhabitants eventually killed themselves or starved to death inside the vault. At some point, the Appalachian Brotherhood of Steel used the equipment in the university in an attempt to develop something to wipe out the Scorched, but I'm not sure if this was inside the vault or just inside the university, but I figured it was at least worth a mention. As I mentioned before, you also go to this vault for the main quest of Wastelanders. In the quest, the Overseer wants to access some data about Vault 79, but she needs to graduate from Vault-Tec University first, which doesn't make much sense considering she already did graduate to become an Overseer, but let's not question that. She talks with the Professor Bot, who tells her that he can fast track her through the program if she completes a scenario in the Simulation Vault to graduate. Except she doesn't actually do it, she has the player do it, because she's a lazy prick. The simulation scenario is actually really fun and interesting. It's genuinely like a proper Fallout quest with several solutions. It's, in a sense, similar to the Vault in Far Harbor, where you're slowly uncovering clues to piece together the mystery, and I really don't want to spoil it. That, and it's pretty complicated, and I can't be bothered to write it all out, but you know what? You should probably go play the quest for yourself. It's fun! See, there's something in Fallout 76. Something. Anyway, after the successful completion of the scenario, the player and the Overseer are able to access the restricted area of the vault, which has the information on Vault 79. I'll go over that when I cover Vault 79 in a future video, which should be uploaded in about 90 years. And that is everything you need to know about the Simulation Vault. And even better, that's everything you need to know about the Unnumbered Vaults. Now, there are a couple of other vaults I should mention, those being John Caleb Bradburton's vault, the Securitron Vault, and the White Spring Bunker. Now, I'm not 100% sure if those were built by Vault-Tec, and my goal is to only highlight vaults built by Vault-Tec. Saying that, there is evidence to suggest that each of these vaults were utilizing Vault-Tec technology, so I may cover them in the future. And that's finally it. If you enjoyed, please consider giving this video a like, as it was a lot of work and I really want motivation to continue this beast of a series. Also, likes genuinely do help small channels grow. But that is it for me. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye!